There we go. Much better. Don't know why my microphone decided to not work. A little weird. But, hey. At least it's now that I catch it and not halfway through. But, here we go. Into the glorious adolescence. Or near the end of childhood. Mark left on you by the sacraments takes a long time to heal. Mother sends a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Glory shows you the mark of a lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You are a commoner now. This is the lot you were born into. But Father keeps telling you to study hard. You may yet earn a different lot and become noble of the mantle. Recall the past with warm sadness, when Stefan still lived with you. Or when he wrote to your family a short time after he left. Now he thinks it beneath him to write the commoners of his family. Mother didn't lock herself in the bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born. But most importantly, you missed the time before the terrifying figure of your grandfather was constantly looming over you. You learned the true power of the lot only after the head of the family's arrival. In grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. Is this just him, or is it the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You're older now, and what's more, you are an elder brother now. You learn how to care about someone else, how to teach and protect. You are a small boy no longer. As the days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study. Now your choices will decide your place in this bizarre, ruthless world of adulthood. Your childhood years are over. Alright. So, we're spineless in determination, we're curious with our perception. Nothing too crazy. Willpower, we're ready for action, I guess. Untouched by death. Here we go. Into adolescence.
I was growing up fast. The school, the streets, and the whole wide world awaited me beyond the gate of my parents' house.
Adolescence. You lived in this world for 8 years now. As you grow older, life grows more complex. The world of your childhood was limited by your house and family, but now that realm is expanding. It also includes your neighborhood, the nearby houses, the streets of the ancient city of Anziat. A question now looms over you, growing more pressing with each passing year. What will your place be in this vast outside world? Few people in the blessed Arcanian Empire trouble themselves with this question. It's not within a man or woman's power to choose. Their destiny is predetermined by their birth and those who bore them. And yet your peculiar birth has granted you a choice. Your father is a man of nobility, a worthy example in matters of duty and honor. Your mother is a commoner of lowly estate, humility and patience made flesh. And your sky is ablaze day and night with the light of the shining pillar, the beacon of the clergy. Your back bears the mark of the lash. Will you accept the drudgery and suffering that the lot of the lowborn for your entire life? Or will you follow the footsteps of your father and your father's father and fight for the right to serve the empire as a noble of the mantle? Perhaps you will follow the twins' god words and offer spiritual guidance to others. The answers lie out there in the vast, terrifying world. What awaits you beyond the walls of your home? We shall find out. Alright. Your world grows to the neighborhood. The house is nearby. The streets of the ancient city of Anziat. Will you accept... Okay. Anyways. Events that can happen to the Brante family this chapter. Discovers Gloria's secret. Okay. Stefan's disgrace. You find out about your elder brother's forbidden love. Ooh. Nobility is greater than 4. You join the blood tide of the Brante family. Participation in the ritual, nobleman's sacrament, or Gregor Brante is greater than 2. Okay. Nathan's admonition. Younger brother Brant receives spiritual admonition from you. Okay, interesting. Events of the personal life of the hero that can happen in this chapter. Matter of the heart, first romantic feelings, revelation of the tree. You experience a revelation by the secret silver tree. Sophia save. Rescue Sophia. Alright, interesting. Your personal qualities at this age. They determine which choices you may take. Nobility, unprincipled. Okay. Ingenuity. How quick-witted. Okay. Spirituality. Well, let's see how we go in life. Here we go. Sections open the chapter. Relations, province, and map of the empire. Okay. Definitely going to be checking these out. Here we go. Quite a little bit to go in adolescence. Boy down the street. Alright, let's look at our relations. Thomas Guerrero, my childhood friend. Lives on the same street, born in the family of humble artisans. His dreams to change his lot, get a military education, and earn the right to a sword. He tends to join the Imperial Legion. Map of the Empire. Oh my god, the Empire's quite huge. Wow, there's a lot. I'm definitely going to need to keep an eye on this. The province. Overseer Archduke Melandus. Okay. The Patriarch. Okay. Power's at -4. Overseer's in power. The Church. We have the Old Faiths. Wealth. We have security. We're doing good. Order 8, we are in peace. Beautiful. Alright. So, your family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes at all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brant family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to a ball, and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books in the sitting room, and Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He's on the porch sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. It's all that kid. He pushed me in the ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still here. You have to go punish him, Faramir. Nathan points to a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poorer artisans live. You see 2 boys lingering there on the porch. They're clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan. He frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he's more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard of it before. There, that's him. Nathan points you at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeve to reveal strong forearms. Must have been helping his father with manual labor for quite some time. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother earned his ditch dive. Maybe next time we'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw them in the mud. I mean, did my brother have it coming? Your hands clenched into fists before you react. Nathan called them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes, but pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You're about to ready for a fight when you feel it tugging your sleeve. You turn to see Nathan, the one who started this whole mess. Listen to your brother first. Not grateful. After all I've done for him as a child. Resolve the matter peacefully. You do your best to reason to avoid a fight. So your brother is to blame. You did call them names first. You simply have to teach that jerk a lesson. So. Nobility, ingenuity, spirituality. Okay. So, let's see here. Let's resolve this matter peacefully. Let's do that. Let's try to talk things out, because obviously there's a misunderstanding. Sure, your brother talked shit and found out. You know? That's just how it goes. I can't be there to protect him all the time. Yeah, we can do that. Let's see what happens. This quarrel can be resolved peacefully. You turn to Thomas and offer to solve the problem like adults. His brother will apologize to Nathan, and Nathan will apologize to him in return. There's no need to fight anyone, and you will give Nathan a piece of your mind when you get home. You and Thomas are all grown up and should act your age, you say. The blood rushes to Thomas' face when he hears this. Act our age, you say. You call me a baby? You better shut your trap. Okay, that's not good. This is all he says before he attacks. You barely dodge a fist flying at your face. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk and awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists with greater and greater fury. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out, your breath grows ragged, and your muscles grow heavy. But there is no way you can give up. Nathan is watching you. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Thomas square in the nose and immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell, blind you for a moment. The world swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head of your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from the nose. You no longer want to fight it out. It seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly you hear an angry shout next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman apron shaping his fist. Thomas's face contorts in terror right away. It's my father. Run! The punishment for fighting is flogging. The mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over the lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward in the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sound of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start nagging me about the lots and prayers for days like he always does. Why do I gotta get myself mixed in this stuff? But fighting's the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting. You tell them, so all you have to do now is convince them you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There. Good as new. You assure them that Nathan will never tell, and in return, you make sure he behaves himself so he don't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his fists. You make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Thomas's father goes to your family complains about you breaking your lot. Come to realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed. It wasn't even too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. I know lots of places like that. I'll tell you what. If we got out of this mist today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It is a perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps, he just gets in the way. Interesting. You emerge from the muddy back alleys, united by a secret only two of you know. Seems you made a friend today. Interesting. I got spirituality on that. Okay. You made a friend, a boy named Thomas. You know, sometimes you just gotta fight it out. You know, it is what it is. 9 years old. It is blisteringly hot today. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you been in the company of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They're doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes, deep blue. Her dark hair is braided and her plain gray dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. Sure love telling tall tales, Faramir. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot, she stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hooves. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognize right away. A sable-serpent blade upon the field of vert. It symbolizes Melandius' dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. The horses dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under the hooves. They will not slow down. They are nobles, and the rest must make way for them. Sophia is in their way. Oh boy. Sophia is in their way, just now starting to get back to her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fence door. You freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled, and crushed. Oh boy, we shield her from the horses. It's going to take some willpower to do that, or do we stay where we are? Oh boy. I don't know if we could do it without it. Do any of the later stuff without willpower. We're still trying to get our grandfather to like us. Unfortunately, Sophia, I'm gonna have to stand back. You stand frozen by the roadside, unable to look away as a cloud of dust covers the entire street. You feel as if a massive maddened beast whipped into a merciless frenzy just passed you by. You hear no screams, no cracking bones, nothing but the deafening din of hooves. Once the horses are gone and the dust settles, you finally see on the road again and a repulsive blob of blood, flesh, and bone left in it. You can still see traces of Sophie in that mess. Her dark hair, the remains of her dress, but it is no longer her. Sophia's earthly remains slowly dissipate and melts in the air. Her mother's eyes are filled with grief as she watches. She hunches over and slowly walks back to the house. You can still hear the riders far away down the road. None of them even bothered to look back. Your friends walk away, at a loss for words. You make your way home, dazed at what you've seen. You are still dazed as you retell these events to Mother, unable to look up from the floor. After a moment of silence, she embraces you and calms you down. Poor girl, what a terrible, painful death. But you must know that it was not her true death. By the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate, but the 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at us birth is a blow heavy to us, but God told us not to mourn a lesser death. Everybody would keep on living as though nothing happened, even Sophia's parents. Their family is poor, and they have no family crypt like we do. When a girl's soul comes back to life, her body will be reborn in the city church with all her wounds healed. Do not mourn her, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. You see Sophia by her house a few days later. She looks completely fine without so much as a scratch. The other children tell you that her parents now forbid her to leave the yard after dying such an early first death. You call out Sophia's name. She looks at you briefly, then walks back inside. I'm sorry, Sophia, but it wasn't worth it for me to rescue you at this point. Sophia never talks to you again. Died her first death. We'll see how that goes. No growth in my character here. Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossip that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, sunlight shining in them. But no matter what, life goes on. You are 10 years old now. Your studies continue, learning more about the land you live in. Anziad is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. Also, Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Melandius. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has lain barren. tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root in their own. All fertile land in Magra is bought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities of Magra became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosion smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone got used to it. Father explains that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. Then one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city and black billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Glory and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out into the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about this incident with you. They took lots of burned up people into the city temple. Mom told me she was helping the healers. There are many rumors. Some claim it's the work of a beast stirred from its slumber, while others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the Order of the Empire with their accursed powers. But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, he faces a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get a vein of ore. There was an explosion, the mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was because Count El Velasco, who owned the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture has been inundated with complaints from the families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers repeat whatever he says, but it's plain old greed and tyranny of noblemen that are to blame. Why is the welfare of prophets always paid for with common lives? Then, without warning, he grows silent again. Keep thinking about it for days. Can human life really end so easily? A single moment of bad luck and you die only to re-emerge from the temple or the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm. Or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never to reborn again. Ever. So, still at peace, but hey, we are now affluent in the city. Nice. Oh boy, Stefan's arrival. Let's see what he has to say to us. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather Gregor Brandt, as well as a noble friend of the family. You are excited about your brother's return. It has been years since you last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? You and Father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings, 3 people standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He's not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognize as your brother. Stefan casts a glance at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. What an asshole! The last owner of the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustine Elborn, Stefan's uncle, a family friend of the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father superior. So Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. And this must be your younger son Faramir, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather Sir Elborn. But there's a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him, awkwardly expecting an embrace. There's a question in Stefan's eyes As he looks at grandfather, the old man shakes his head almost impersonally. We know men oughtn't put our emotions on public display, father. Not even after a lengthy separation. Dude, hug your father. Unless he's like your grandfather. Hug your father. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to Father Cartley. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is first to enter. He kisses Mother's hand and Gloria's too. He tussles Nathan's hair after seeing him hiding at the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Brant. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child. And you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I saw you last. Your elder brother ignores Gloria completely. Not even a greeting. Whoo boy! You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they immediately punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. Oh boy, gotta love a happy family dinner. This dinner is splendid, Lydia. Do you choose the dishes yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know that Stefan spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of the sword, but words of praise from a lowborn woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he's about to choke on those words. Oh, man. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school among his equals. See, he doesn't exactly hate me. Please, Gregor, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love. I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan. But there is still a family for him. He is surrounded by love. How could that be bad? Hey, he likes me. That's good. And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best, after all. Robert earned the judge's rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps, and who knows, perhaps the younger men of the Brant family will contribute to the... You clumsy, low-born cretin! Who is he shouting at? Is he shouting at my dad's boss? Dude! Everybody's startled by the sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He is glaring at a young lady servant holding the pitcher over a glass. Okay. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Uh-oh. Is he pissed off that he stained the jacket? Begone, the assistant, or the girl. It's gotta be the girl. Lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, Uncle. There are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Are you gonna make us do it, you little shit? Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. She is sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches over under his gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts for too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Brant gentleman so wishes it. Oh God, what are you planning, Gloria? Your hand clenches into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It's all grandfather's doing. Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission. And yet they're noblemen. They have the right to act this way. If there's any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you don't want to see it. I couldn't insult my brother. Cause a huge chaos with the family. I'd probably get flogged for that. Make small talk. Try to act like nothing happened. Make small talk with a guest. That might impress, a lot of people. Or I could serve the family. Gloria would appreciate the help. I don't... You know what? Let's try to talk things out with people. Let's see what happens. Moving stiffly, Gloria takes the wine pitcher, starts refilling the glasses. You turn away from your sister, eager to distract yourself from the present somehow. You ask Sir Elborn how you may contribute to the family legacy. He turns to you, clearly relieved. Your eagerness to support the family betrays your noble bearing, young man. It is simple. Always remember that you are a Brant. Your family has a path of its own. You must follow in the footsteps of your father and grandfather and learn the judge's trade. Keep asking questions about the life and duty of a nobleman, trying not to look at Gloria continue serving the table. Sir Elborn is eager to explain. A nobleman must always live with honor and in mind, but the imperial law stands higher. There are 3 lots and 3 estates. Naturally, they can never be equal, yet the law must govern those who live within each estate. You have a hard time understanding some of the things the prefect of Magra says, but his intellect is stunning. The dinner ends. Gloria takes away the last of the dirty dishes and disappears quietly from the dining room. Sir Elborn cordially bids you farewell. Grandfather and stepmother are still as haughty as ever, but they are clearly pleased. Pleased with what, you wonder? The dinner or the glorious humiliation? Probably both. Okay, good. Then you go to sleep. Your sister saw me in the next room loud enough that you hear her. Okay, so he's warming up to me like I'm getting... He's warming up to me, thinking of me as becoming a noble. It's probably for the best for the family. Hey, I got nobility up just by 1 man. Still unprincipled, but hey. A dropped handkerchief. A hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anziot prefer to remain in their chambers, while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You are on an errand now. Your father wrote a letter of noble acquaintance, and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The 2 of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anziot where the nobles live. So here you are in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork of the old foundation, the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods someday, or become a manservant to some noble and never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work hard, endure, and suffer. Thomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble, our strength is patience and persistence, so yeah. I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I asked you. But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example. Brant, your father's a nobleman, but even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me. But we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Or, look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble? I've never seen an Arcanian work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Arcanians are a different race. The book says we were born to rule over humans. They were never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equal. Arcanians are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course, you have never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Count rebel like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestone and see flags bearing a coat of arms. A sable serpent on a field of vert makes you squirm. It's the Archduke's coat of arms, the Melandrus dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress, her black hair cascading over them, her stately slim silhouette, her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes dark in the night sky, the way she moves fluidly and gracefully. And most incredible of all, her skin glows an azure blue. She's a masterpiece given life. She is an Arcanian. Clear the way for me. The Milliandus guardmen work quickly to clear the way of the fountain. The searing sun dances on her skin under bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Well, I'll be. That's Octavia Milliandus, our Archduke's own daughter. The Arcadian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand and fall into the cobblestones right next to you. Her handkerchief. It's right there by your feet. Intricate craftsmanship, expensive yet woven fabric, delicately doctored with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arcadian's attention in order to return lost possession? Or would you rather not attempt to draw the chasm between you and her? Oh god, that would be interesting. Should we do the noble thing and return? Let's do it. I'll probably get flogged for this, but I am returning something that does belong to her that she might want. Takes a moment to overcome your fear. You follow the young lady Miliandus and call her out in a nervous voice. She turns around, her beautiful face marred by a puzzled expression. You extend the dropped handkerchief towards her. Lady Octavia contorts into a sneer. She signs to the guardsman indifferently. Guardsman gauntlet-clad hand slips you in the face. It rings your head like a heavy bell. Your nose cracks obediently under the staggering force. The rest of you follow suit, and you fall prone. You can discern the guardsman's voice through the painful din of yours. Should I take the handkerchief back, lady? After the commoner's hands have befouled it, let him wipe himself with it for all I care. Oh, she gonna remember me. Carriage drives away. Thomas runs up to you and drags you back to the fountain. Your head is still ringing from the blow. The fateful handkerchief is still crumpled in your hand. She remembers me. Yeah. That's not good. Actually, no, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. We'll find out. Yeah, I'd be exhausted too after that. Matters of the heart. I've met a girl. Yeah. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It is a spring night. Mother has sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study to hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brant men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention, to hide next to the open window in the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. That low-life idiot has the gall to pay me a visit and begs me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful. Should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum? I don't give a damn who this Edgman is, Robert. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. Man, you're not even noble either. You're just a noble of the mantle. I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree. But that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed. And even now, lowlives can wield power. True power, Robert. Just as the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax. Nothing more. That is only the beginning. What next? Are they going to arm the lowlives now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations of the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah! Who am I telling this to? It's already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are the harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you. I do not wish to marry a 3rd time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you only allow her to... I will allow them nothing. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather rub my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlives share the same rights. My only dream is to see the name of Brant in the Blue Book, but that dream will never come true. They will never call me Vulnerable L. Brant, and that's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of L. Brant. You have 2 more grandsons, by the way. Those spineless milksops in the common lot, they're incapable of anything. The best your mill son can do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle. Although I have grave doubts about that, even that. And for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. I gotta convince this guy I'm gonna become something. I gotta make him love me. You hear grandfather's heavy footsteps thudding from his cane and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. Alright. Ooh, Overseer's losing power. School begins. You start studying at the school of Sir Tibor and begin to master the sciences. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tibor's school for the school children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles, so you'll study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend Thomas. Sir Tibor's school, eh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop is toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based on ancient state-of-the-art Arcanian design. The classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sound of scraping quills and lectures on history, imperial law, and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted. Several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the Nobles' Court of Honor is different from the Commoner's Civil Court of the City Prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it's time to go to school, you'll promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind. For you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month of school draws to a close, and the teachers announce there will be an exam at the end of the month to determine the best and worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you still consider theology. You remember the revelations of divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You have one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in your room. It's already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought in your mind. Thomas ended up being in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who lived next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got outraged by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you'd abandon the books and rescue your friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He's standing there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or run away. But this time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay, Faramir? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology. Either one or the other. But Thomas and your fort will always are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? You grind your teeth in rage at the night. Nathan is by the door trying not to bother you. He wants to help you only way he can. For reasons only known to him. Will you accept his help? Let's focus on law and history tonight. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Soon your eyes start to hurt from all the legal terms, chronologies, and title imperial edicts. You repeat everything, every single line of it, until your head hurts and your vision begins to blur. When Father walks in, he chuckles in approval. You fall asleep right there amidst the books. Morning comes. You barely have time to wake up before you're walking in the menacing edifice at the school. Time for law. All students sit still, glued to their benches in terror. The teacher voice singles you out. If a commoner insults a nobleman's honor, how ought to be dealt with according to imperial law? Bring the commoner to the prefecture, where the judge will sentence him to corporal punishment. Jesus Christ. And what if the noble takes a commoner's life by negligence or whim? The noble is fined by the... He only gets a fine? Like, you get corporal punishment, he gets a fine. Yeah, that's justice. Surprise you yourself, you gave the correct answer to these questions and the many more that follow. The next subject is the history of the Blessed Arcanian Empire. You masterfully recount the history of every province as they merged with you with the empire from Monia to Magra. Then you recite the names of every tempest who has ruled the empire. You conquer every question the teacher asks you without confusing a single day. I couldn't do that. I do that all. I mess it up all the time. You get the highest grade in law and history and average grade in theology. You relay the teacher's praise to Father over there, and he smiles, pleased with you. Well done, my son. I can see how hard you have been working. Keep at it, and you will become the Empire's greatest servants. I am proud of you. Look at that, nobility's going up. I am now honorable. Your education continues. Ooh. I like this solo piano. As you study imperial law, you must come to realize that there is a certain hierarchy, even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Arcanian gentry. You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner, as he always does. And so, what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Faramir? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it is passed down from father to son. After the Arcanians, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans of the empire. They own the land and estates. They fill the offices with the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond. Sir Augustin Elborn, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. What about the Arcanian and their staffs? What have you learned about them? The Arcanians stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over the humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Arcanian tells you and never defy them. Ever. And what about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. This title cannot be inherited, but can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the Empire and the Legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks at you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son. All in due time. Here we go. Sons of the Nobility. Sir Tibor's school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons here. Every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diedrich, son of the secretary of the Imperial Chancery and self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Diedrich and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again, you ask your friend to not pay them any mind, but again and again, Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It is early morning, the students are busy, flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Ooh. Needless to say, it's the work of Diedrich and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clutches his fists. You are dead, Diedrich. He throws himself at Diedrich's haughty and entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Diedrich sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas grasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Diedrich raises another kick. The nobleman then cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners? Your father's a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind. You're equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind them, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he strolls furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diedrich haughtily extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? You can challenge him to a fight. Yeah, ain't gonna help me. I sick the school authorities and Diedrich and his retinue. That's not gonna happen. Admonish him. Him and ennobled by the mantle still bear the commoner's lot. Oh boy. You know what, Thomas? I'm sorry, I'm moving on up, buddy. Diedrich, Thomas, and the entire school sees you shake his hand. There is truth in what he said. You are both children and nobles. Being friends with your peers is good for the family and your father's standing. Secretary's son's hand is cold and moist. Thomas winces when he sees you shake the boy's hand. A satisfied smile appears on Diedrich's face. Now that he's finally gotten what he wanted, he signals his friends to let Thomas go. Thomas gets back on his feet, looks at you straight in the eye, and shakes his head in disappointment. Sorry, Thomas. I didn't ask you about that, Farmier. Why you... Thomas will avoid you for the rest of the day. When the lesson ends, he quickly packs and leaves up without you. After spending the evening with Diedrich and his retinue, as it turns out, the children of the noblemen aren't so bad when you get to know them. They're simply afraid for their status and eager to avoid being mixed up with the lowborn boys. Not Diedrich himself, however. His stupidity and bravado are astonishing. He clearly became their leader through sheer audacity and overconfidence. However, you always remember exactly why you need his friendship. Several days pass, then Diedrich invites you to his family house. You inform father of the invitation. You have made friends with the city hall secretary's son? This may bode well for our family. Well done. I will accompany you there. Both of you travel to the city hall district when the time comes. The secretary's house is larger and more luxuriously decorated than your family's. There's even a garden in front of it, planted in imported soil. Diedrich pompously introduces you to his father, a balding, aloof-looking nobleman. The two fathers sip wine until the sun goes down, discussing ancient affairs such as the quorum decree, the lesser quorums, the policies of the Archduke Melanius, and the new agenda set by the prefect Elborn. Father doesn't forget to mention that he is related to the prefect. The two fathers part on good terms. They agree to invite to each other's dinners and aid each other in work-related matters. You take the carriage back home. Father tousles your hair tiplously. This is a good connection for our family. I'll tell your grandfather how you helped me set it up. You did very well, Farmier. Sir Gregor will certainly appreciate this. In turn, you share a thought that has been weighing heavily on you. In order to make this acquaintance, you had to ignore your best friend Thomas for the better part of a week. What should you do now? Maybe you should apologize to him first. If you're truly good friends, your friendship will survive this trial. The next day, you catch up to Thomas after school. Naturally, he would rather hurry ahead instead of talking to you. You have to keep up with him while talking, which is quite difficult. There's no reason to be angry anymore. You plead with Thomas. Those nobleman sons have settled down. They'll never bully him again. You tell him how your father turned this fleeting acquaintance into a useful connection. You reassure Thomas that he will always be your friend, not Diedrich. He's nasty and stupid, only wants the other boys to praise him. Thomas stops when he hears you say that. He turns to you, the familiar smile beaming on his face once again. Now that's interesting, Brant. So you learned his weak spots, eh? Keep talking, and I'll see if I should forgive you. You tell Thomas about the week you spent with Diedrich. Soon the two of you are making up new names for the bullies based on what you learned, laughing together again. His resentment soon disappears and he stops avoiding you. This has left a mark on your relationship, but you remain friends. Yeah, it happens. Look at that. Our reputation is going up. We got a modest position right now. Oh, no relationship with grandfather? Come on, that could only help us with grandpappy. The silver tree. Alright, so we need to get our nobility ranking up, that's for sure. House Brant. We're doing good. We still have disagreements. Gregor, how you doing, buddy? Still +1. Alright. Your theology teacher tells you more about Anziot. It is more than just a provincial capital. It's also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It's where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood. That blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you have approached the trunk of the tree yourself. But never approached. Today you'll be taking your first trip to the silver tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness the landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everybody is excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anziot. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers, and preachers. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace, your teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There's a crowd here, pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments amongst the people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many of them are wandering around staring towards the tree's branches. Just a second, guys. Let's see here. This will probably be the last decision I make before I move on. The tree's impressions with you despite its common emanating from it. You're filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back to the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path. It should take you right next to the trunk. Sorry guys, give me a second. The tree impresses you with its might and the calm emanating from it. They are filled with desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path. It should take you right next to the trunk. A tall, red-haired woman walks out from the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a warm white robe. She is no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered with freckles. Her hands clutched in a book. You've never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks almost as if she recognizes a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Matilda, a preacher from Estonia. What she says next shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen in learning the teachings of the twins. Yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will find only the lies about the lots, the erring words of the prophet Isatea, sanctified by the passage of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives know that they've never known so much as mention the lots. The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have heard from mother and everything you have been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze with fear. Should you argue with Matilda or ask her for more information, or should you treat her as a madwoman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She is just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare and almost spotless. Her hair is covered in a handkerchief with only a single gold lock showing. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. There's just a bit of color in her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to you quickly. Don't listen to her, she's dangerous. Come to the temple with me, only there you will see the truth. You stand there surrounded by the crowd... Oh man. You stand there surrounded by the crowd of the praying pilgrims at the sound of the shuffling feet, torn between two people you've never seen before. And each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispering of the wind in the tree's branches. The branches reach out to you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice? Well, I don't got insight, that's for sure. I ain't got no willpower to that. Let's see here. That might raise spirituality. Let's ignore these women and let's see what the tree has to say. The tree is beautiful. The silver-white foliage stretches and spreads towards the sky, held aloft by a trunk so thick it would be a challenge to walk around it. The leaves rustle and whispers peacefully in the wind. The tree seems to speak to you. You walk away from the odd-looking preacher and the young acolyte, ignoring them as they call out to you. You walk around the temple and the crowd of people getting closer to the tree with every step. Then you extend a shaking hand and touch the bark. It's unusually warm. You can feel a pulse beneath the roots. The tree is alive. The roots are so gigantic, they form a large grotto. A space of air embraced by the roots of the ground. You squeeze onto one of those grottos. It's unusually bright and quiet, shielded from the noise of Anziat. Right now, there's only you and the tree. You sit down. There are leaves rustling all around you. The only noise you hear is the beating pulse of life that flows through the tree. And this pulse beats in time with your own heart. You feel clarity and calmness, free of doubt and frustration. The tree speaks to you. Or are they your own thoughts? So strange, unfamiliar, and eye-opening. These thoughts speak of soothing love, and of crystal clear law, and of love, and of law intertwining to bring the miracle of life to you. You stop slouching, your frown becomes a light smile. Hours pass like fleeting seconds. You lose track of time until you overhear someone shouting your name. Alas, it is time to leave this grotto. The sun is setting over Anziat now. The day was quick to pass. Your teacher frowns, ready to scold you. You mumble an explanation, say you are ready to be punished for disobedience. Yet, instead, the teacher nods in understanding. Nice! Beautiful. Got a large boost of willpower. You keep looking back to the tree all the way home. Whatever happened to you today, you find it difficult to put into words. Shadows of the Past. Alright, we're going to leave it here. We're going to get ready and start booting up for, PUBG. So, give me a moment. Settings. Go to main menu. Alright. There we go. Alright, be sure I got that going. Alright. Edit channel. Profile.